So hi everyone, I'm super happy to be here today at Swimm. So the subject of today is like developer experience and how to deal with in your day-to-day life when you are like a software engineer. So I will try to put a definition on what is like a what is like a developer experience, and after we'll take a look on Nuxt3 and like tooling that can help you in day-to-day when you are using this framework to help you to develop more faster and to debug more easily also. So my name is Louzoun, I'm from Paris. Sorry for, I switch in English because I'm still not speaking Hebrew. I'm 29 years old. I'm working at Nilos. I'm mainly working on like all the platform stuff. It's crypto banking. I'm building projects since like the age of 12 years old. So I build like private server and like bunch of CMS for PrestaShop and Shopify. I previously worked in ad tech company. So for people who know it, it's like Taboola, Outbrain in semantic targeting. And after I worked at Vibe, it's like we mainly display like some ads on connected TV in United States. So what does developer experience mean? So as you can see, like developer experience is like in the middle of like user experience and development principle. So developer experience is like mainly the process, the culture, the tooling to have like an impact in our day-to-day in software development. It's like how you can jump like really easily, like in a code base, for example, or like in a documentation in your company, and to be able to iterate more faster than just if you arrive without like any documentation or any tooling on your code. When I'm speaking, for example, about like tooling, I'm speaking about like tooling that can help you in day-to-day. I mean, like, for example, Prettier, ESLint, like debugging stuff. So it's mainly about it. So at the end, developer experience is like all about making the life of a developer more easier. So I list here some points that can show like you have like a bad developer experience. I mean, not in your company, but in your day-to-day life. So inadequate communication, developer experience, it's not only about like developing in general, it's also about like communication and documentation. So inadequate communication, for example, when you are like deploying in production and you don't post any message regarding that, it can cause like some developer experience issue. Limited tool integration. I mean, for example, when you are deploying your services and it takes like 10 minutes to build, it can be really like frustrating to have this type of stuff. And in this case, you begin to add like some caching on your build, to add like remote caching to build only the part of the code that you update. Slow feedback loop. There is like bunch of company who are like building project, but without like any process regarding design iterating, product iterating, or even like sometimes on the review part. I mean, when you are opening a pull request, you don't have any code base defined in all the documentation in your company, and you don't know how to handle it. It means that at the end you can have like some lack of consistency in your entire code base. So no documentation, no resources. I didn't say no documentation because I'm at Swimm today, but it's like mainly of like a job of a developer. It's like to write code and to document on the side. It's not about to write code because at the end, when like the principal engineer is going out and like all the knowledge are going out from the company, it's really hard to handle and to ramp up of what you build. And even more if like into your company, there is nobody who are making like personal presentation to show how he handle like a migration from like a part of code to another one. It can be really hard, and it can, at the end, like time is money, and even more maybe in Israel, people are going super fast when they are developing. So it's really important to be aware and to be able to document it, everything you are working with, or to understand everything you are touching in terms of like in the code base of your company. Low quality code, slow feature delivery. When I'm speaking about like low quality code, it's mainly about like some code base, code guideline. I mean, when I'm speaking about code guideline, it's like just when you are using JavaScript, it's, for example, to not define like global variable, to be aware of like the scoping of the variables that you are manipulating, just to respect like the paradigm of like the language that you are using in your day to day. And slow feature delivery. Slow feature delivery is mainly mainly when you don't have any process or any tooling and you need to build everything by hand. It can take a lot of time and it can be really hard to iterate faster. And high staff turnover. I mean, when you are entering a company, you are arriving and you are just jumping into a code. There is no README, there is no code-based documentation. You can be a bit like afraid, and it can take some time to ramp up on the code, and it can be really hard for the guy who just arrived, and even more if it's like a junior profile. So try to take, I mean, like the benefits of every language that you are manipulating, to use it like as like, I will not say 100%, but just to try to automate stuff that you are manipulating in day to day, to earn time, and to sometimes like leave earlier the work. So on the other side, a good developer experience here is like, I think for me, the first principles that are really interesting to deep dive into the documentation, to have like maybe auto-generated documentation, commands, migration guides. I get a case when I was like in my previous company where we needed to deploy again like all the stack and we didn't get any documentation. I mean, if your infrastructure is not like deployed with Terraform, and if you didn't have like any README on how to deploy your client and your backend and how to reset up every databases, it can be really painful and it can take a lot of time. Tooling, Storybook, ESLint, Prettier, to have like a good good tooling for developing, to not hesitate about like sharing some configuration. Like a case that we get, we didn't get like any VS Code like sharing settings. So I'm working with like 4 tabs. My colleague is like working with 2 tabs. Every time he's like commit, it's like every time he committed on the code, it's like he like updated like the file every time. And it's really painful. I mean, because you want at the end, the most important thing about like like in a development project is like all about like consistency. How you are developing your variable, how you are making your convention name, and all this type of stuff. So guideline, how you are iterating on Git workflow, changelog, release notes, reviews. I mean, all these types can be automated. For example, on Git, when you are merging on production, if you respect like the Git commit convention, you can generate like the releases automatically. Nobody needs to write it. The project manager don't need to touch nothing. The release is like deploying automatically, and it's like it can be posted directly on Slack, on your Slack development channel. And also about like collaboration and communication, maybe to make some internal presentation when you are migrating like huge part of the code, Notion pages and how to deploy some project, or about like code guidelines that you want your project to respect, and to not hesitate if you to scope the information, for example, on a feature in like a Slack channel. I mean, there is a bunch of companies that are to improve the developer experience, that are like creating like every time they are developing like a huge feature on the platform, for example, they are creating like a Slack channel dedicated to that, and they are iterating into this Slack channel just to keep and to scope all the knowledge and all the feature to improve the developer experience for the guy who is like behind the computer and developing the features. So I will just present like really quickly. Why? Okay. I will just present really quickly. So I will deep dive into the Nuxt3 framework. It's like extendable way to create type-safe and full-stack application with a lot of like tooling around it to make the life of the developer more easier. So here are some points that really can improve the life of the developer. When you are like dealing with Nuxt.js, you can have like file-based routing. It means that all your routing application is based on the directory architecture that you are defining in your application. It can be dynamic. If you need to pass some ID, you can also define it in the directory stuff. All the components are like import automatically. All the composable are also import automatically. You don't need to import any ref, any computed, any like it's like a bit magic. You can create client or server components. Client component is like basically what you are working with. If people are using Vue here, I mean, you create like a normal component with like .vue extension. Server component, it's like a component that will be rendered on the server side and that can compute really like in a faster way some information. You can create some plugins, some layouts. You can define like dynamic layouts, and you can reuse it like in all your application really easily. You can also define middleware. I mean, when you are dealing with authentication, you will have like some pages that are public and some pages that are public, and you can really easily define some middlewares. Composition utilities, you have already like the fetch package in the application for people who are coming from the React industry. If there is people here that are using React in day-to-day, you can use use states. It means that you can pass some context between components really easily without having like a direct link between components. And you can also lazy load components in an easy way. So this is a really quick configuration. I don't know, everything is like see the configuration? Yeah. No. I will try. It's fine. Yeah. Maybe more. Okay. Okay. So this is like the entry point of your Nuxt application. So in your Nuxt application, you can define if you want like the application to be server-side rendering, if you want how you want to build your project, if you want to build your project in like a static way, if you want to build your project in a SPA application way. So you can define all this stuff, but with Nuxt, you can also define SEO and meta content. I mean, if you need to have like a website with like good SEO, it's like the way to use it. So you have like what you are using in day to day. If you are developing like an HTML5 website, you have like a head content, you have like the content inside, and you have the footer. So the most interesting stuff here is like you can directly in the Nuxt configuration pass some runtime configuration. You just need to load it here. You can say if the runtime configuration you wanted to make it public or you wanted to make it private, and you can also define the builder without writing any configuration. I mean, if you want to use Vite, if you want to use Webpack, if you want to use Rollup, it's really easy to do it. You in one line you can define which type of builder you want to use in your application. So this is like a plugin. What is a plugin in Nuxt? A plugin is like a file that is like loaded before the application is instantiated. So here I gave an example of Vue query plugin. It's like a package that help you to manipulate to go to fetch some content or to post, to patch or delete like any resources. So this is how you can define a plugin, and at the end, like this file will be injected directly in your application, and you can see here that you have like the condition if you are like working in a client mode or like in a server mode in a server mode in your application. So so this is like a plugin in Nuxt3 to load like for example. Like a lazy, in a lazy way, a component. What I'm saying about lazy way, it's like you instantiate the component resources only when you are dealing with it in your page. You just need to add like the lazy keywords in front of it, and the component will be lazy. This is like the example of the file routing. So it's all about directory. Into the pages, you have like the index.view. So it's like the pass, the slash pass, but you can also define like a about page. And if you want like to deal with like dynamic ID, you just need to open the bracket to put id.view, and it will create like a dynamic pass in your application. About tooling, in Nuxt3 you have like not huge ecosystem, but you have like bunch of packages that are directly created by the community and validated by the team that you can use in day-to-day to manage like different tech cases. If you want like to deal with internationalization, if you want to deal with like tooling, if you want to deal with like global states, all this type of stuff. I have like yeah, okay. So I will speak about tooling. There is people who are using a Vite here. Okay, so I think it's so it's cool. So like to give like a bit more context about Vite. Like Vite is a build tool that's supposed to provide a faster and leaner development to experience for modern web application. So you have like two huge parts when you are dealing with Vite. The first one is like it's exposed like a dev server, and that provide like a lot of modules with it. I mean, auth module replacement, HMR. When you are updating part of your code, it will rebuild only the file that was updated, and it will be transcribed directly to your interface. Also you are dealing with like native ESM, so no more JS bundle. It's help you to serve like modular JS code that can be directly interpreted by your browser, the user's browser. Instant server start, so no call starting when you are dealing with your application. For people who are used to use Webpack, you needed to build all your application, and on large application it can take a lot of times. And also on the code splitting, really huge improvements. I mean, when you build your application and you want to go to check how the code is splitted, just like open the network and go to check any resources, how it's splitted. You will see like differences between if you make the code splitting with Webpack or with Vite. So I will just present really fast, in a fast way, Nuxt dev tools. I don't see. Oh. So this is our application at Nilos. So we are a crypto banking company, and I will show you a tool that all our developers are using in day-to-day in the front-end team. So it's named Vue Dev Tools. I don't know if people already install it into your apps, but so here you have like the main page. You can have like an overview of how many pages you have defined on your application. If you have like dead pages also, you will be able to see it because all the pages are listed. All the components that you create, all the imports function in which file is used, the modules that you define in your application, and also the plugin. I will deep dive in a really fast way into every category that you can find here. So here is like the page that you are listing all your routes. You can directly, if you want, you can like directly say I want to have to check this route, and you will be able to search it in a fast way. You can also check which route is taking like additional parameter and a dynamic parameter. Like it can help you in your day-to-day when you are like you are jumping on a new project and you want to see like the global pictures of the project. These plugins can really help you to develop more faster and to be aware of what like previous developer did. You can have like a definition of your every component. If you are following like any syntaxes, you can be able to search it directly here, but you can also see the dependency graph of like all the pages and all the components that you are using. You can filter off a component, and you can see like for example, for a page, which component it's included into the page, and if there is like components that are not used, you can also like in an easy way to deep dive into it. Here is like about all the user composables that define in your project. You can have directly like occurrences where you defined it in your project in an easy way, and you can directly jump into the code that is like importing this your utils or your composable. In the module module page, you will see like all the modules that the application is using. It can be useful if you want to just to check about to get like the repo of the modules that you are dealing with in your application. This is all the plugins that our app is importing, and what is really useful here is like you can really easily deep dive into bottleneck into your application, and to find if you have like for example like an application which take like a lot of times to load. It's like an easy way to deep dive into your application and to check from where the bottleneck can come. So this is all the assets that are defined in the public directory of Nuxt. This is like all the life cycle of your application. So you can like order every column here, and you can say, okay, I want to sort by duration, and you can check which hook is taking too much time or can slow your application. And that's all. I mean, and if you want to directly have access to one of the components existing of your UI, you can directly target it with like the cursor, and it will open directly the code associated to it. Don't worry. So yeah, this is like the structure of like of a monorepo of a Nuxt application. So you have like the component directory, you have the composable directory. You can define like middleware here, and you can. I mean, after you just need to define the views that you are dealing with, and it's help us a lot. Yeah. Wait. I think I closed maybe the presentation. No, it's here. Up. So thank you. I don't know if you have any question, maybe regarding the presentation.
First of all, thank you.
Yes.